You know, sometimes it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel, cause so many things that go against us. But it's something inside our spirit that just keep us marching forward. We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Yeah.
So what's up, my boy? How you feeling?
What's up, bro, man?
It's been a long time coming.
Man, I've been looking forward to doing this for a little while, and I know when I was in Atlanta, I didn't get to link up with you, so it feels good to actually get it done in our city now. So
yeah, it feels good to like catch you in the flesh too, bro, because like I see all these people that like I've met over the years that are doing so many amazing things, and it feels different to like watch it in social media. So sometimes it feels good to just like reconnect in person and like tell people that you care about, like, yo, you're doing a great job, or like hear what's going on behind the scenes, because like you, I see you making all these moves, and I want an understanding of like the bigger picture of what you're working towards. So I'm hoping that I can learn a little bit more about that today.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think too, we can't get lost in it. We talked about this on the way in, but you can't get lost in the human element of life, right? Things are happening in real life, and not just living through a social media channel. So like, it definitely feels good to sit across from you and just break bread, man. So I'm looking forward to it, man. Let's do it.
Most definitely. So what's new, bro? Like, what you got going on in your life right now?
Yeah, man. So last month we wrapped up the 5th annual Philly Financial Literacy Week, and that was that was instrumental for me, man, because to stay consistent for 5 years of doing something that I didn't always get the best turnout for, I didn't always get the media attention for it, I didn't always get recognized for it.
Right.
It helped me understand that, I've been always leading with the work, and it's always been about helping, people just become like better stewards of their money, to say the least. So, being able to go to year 5 and getting people that are coming from like other cities to come and be a part of it, because they also want to learn. And we got recognized again this year for it from Philadelphia City Council and the U.S. House of Representatives. So we got a citation and a resolution award, and basically what those are, just awards that government gives out to community members that are doing really good work in the community, and it honors that particular event happening. So we do Philly Financial Literacy Week every year in October. It's the 3rd week in October, and I met some. That was in October, so I'm recapping you on October. So that was a great month. I mean, we had Experian, the credit bureau, who's always down to be a partner with us. We had 3 dynamic black women come on, and 3 minority women, because one is a Latina, 2 of them were black. Come on and talk about real estate, how they built their real estate empires basically from $0. We had a black CPA come on, talk about taxes and business structures for a lot of the small business owners. And then we concluded with the crypto conversation with Tyrone Ross and Justin Castelli, which was, man, for anybody that didn't get the opportunity to join it, that was probably just like the questions that the audience were asking. They were very engaged. They were trying to figure out like how that fit into their current lives. So I just felt really liberated afterwards, because I knew people took something away from it.
Right.
And that's what the goal is, right? Just to help people take something away that they can apply to their everyday lives. So we just concluded that, man. I've been studying for an exam that I'm going to be taking at the end of December. I'm not going to kind of talk a little bit premature on that one, because you got people that are watching, so I don't want nothing to be reported. But there is going to be something very special happening for creatives and small business owners that I'm really excited for. I've been planting these seeds to do the work that I'm going to do for the last 7 years. So it's been a long time coming. So that's what I've been up to. I did go to some conferences this year. So in September, I visited 2 conferences that changed my life. The connections. I mean, I'm meeting the chief and editor for Investopedia. They want to, they're throwing stuff at us for Philly Financial Literacy Week. I'm meeting, people who sit on top of the largest exchange traded funds in the United States. I'm meeting global leaders within like the investment world. It just was crazy. And then what I took away was that relationships, right? And we always talk about your network is your network, right? But relationships are so much more valuable in currency. You don't even dig it. Like people, not you in particular, but people don't dig it. Like, and I mean that wholeheartedly. Because I went out there with the intentions of wanting to meet genuine people, and then I had follow-ups. So after I left both of those, I was away for 8 days. I went to FinCon in Orlando. I was there for 4 days. Shout out to my lady who purchased the tickets for me to go down there because she believed in the dream. And I flew from Orlando to LA and drove out to Huntington Beach, and that was a whole different world too. We could, we'll get back to that. That was just crazy. But I was going for those 8 days, and when I came back, I had 4 weeks worth of meetings set up, all just Zooms. So by that fourth week, I ain't gonna lie, I was burnt out. And then I had Philly Financial Literacy Week the very next week, so I was like that was a lot.
Leading with the work, bro.
Yeah,
I think this is a follow-up what we're doing right now, because me and you met about, I would say like 4 or 5 years ago now, bro, at our friend Kiava's Black Millennial Mixer.
Yeah.
And at that event, I had the opportunity to see a lot of people and meet a lot of people that I watch on social media. They always in one room. So I didn't know too much about you at that time, but when we followed each other on social media and I saw everything that you was about, I was like, yo, this dude is like really out here.
We also crossed paths very briefly, and I brought it up to you before, but we both played high school basketball for the same high school. You played the following year after I had graduated, and then you had played at Bernathen, and I was at Penn State Abington playing when Troy and all was playing there.
Troy and Dion.
Yeah, so they played at Bernathen. Bernathen had just started their basketball program, and I was playing at Penn State Abington, and we actually played because they joined the NEAC. And we were a part of the NEAC conference. So you were there as well. So we always crossed paths, but it was just, that's why I'm like, nah, Tay, we kind of knew, we didn't know each other, but we crossed paths. Because basketball, you know how that sport is. Like,
you meet so many
people. Like now, if I'm going to a game, I'm like looking at something, I'm like, damn, I used to play with him when I was 11 years old. You just know people because that sport just, that's crazy. Like basketball really builds relationships.
Most
like,
definitely. We were supposed to hoop today, yo.
Nah, man.
I
was at a reunion last night, man, for a high school, or you would have thought it was my high school reunion, man. I just like having a good time. If you ever have the privilege of having me in an event, I'm not humble at an event. I'm going to dance,
bro,
and I'm going like.
I was telling my girl before this. I love watching your girl's social media. Whenever y'all travel, or whenever y'all go to a party, yo, at some point, Nas is gonna get drunk and he gonna start dancing.
And I'm gonna start dancing, bro. Yo, she's literally creating a TikTok of all my dances because I literally that's a testament to my personality.
Yeah.
You may not know how to do something, right? But you're gonna do it anyway, and you're gonna give it your best shot. You're not gonna worry about what other people are thinking. I take that back when I dance. I can't really dance,
right?
But like in that moment, I'm enjoying the moment. I'm not sitting at the table scrolling on Instagram. Right. I'm in the moment. I'm like vibing, laughing, spreading love, and just being. Because when I get drunk, I naturally become a lover, and I get very inspirational, and I'm ready to give a speech. Bro, I took their mic over last night at the reunion. So they put Dreams and Nightmares on, and the Central people. It's a very diverse group there. So they was all sitting there, and he was playing. The DJ dropped the song. I'm like, oh no, they ain't doing it. When you hear that song anywhere, you from Philly, man, it's just something that song do to you. So I got up, man. I went over I said, DJ, hold that beat, drop that joint back, man. I got on the mic and I was like, yo, Central, y'all not turning up the right way, man. Right. I want everybody on the dance floor. So everybody got up, went to the dance floor. I was like, DJ, drop that joint. Then he just dropped it, I'm like, yo, what am I doing? This ain't on my part. This ain't on my part.
Nas didn't even go to Central.
That's me,
he took
man.
the whole party over. But no, I really commend you on that, bro. And I think it really goes back to that idea of just like being in the moment and truly finding ways to like enjoy life. And I feel like with all these phones, laptops, and these devices, it's taking us so far away from reality that people are able to go online and curate lifestyles that might not even be
who they are.
Right.
Yep.
And that's a dangerous place to exist in. And I wanted to go back to something, bro. I wanted to congratulate you on your fifth Philly Financial Literacy Week. But
appreciate that, bro.
I ain't wanted to go over people's heads. So if you could explain it in layman's terms and like break it down, like what is Philly Financial Literacy Week? Yeah,
so Philly Financial Literacy Week. So Philly Financial Literacy Week, Inc. is a nonprofit organization, right? That serves underserved. Its premise is to serve the underserved, right? People who don't have access to financial resources or education to help them, propel forward in their financial journey. So the organization throws a annual week in Philly where throughout that whole week, we're hosting different financial education workshops for free for the community to come and have an opportunity, not just to learn, but the people that I'm actually bringing on these platforms, these are people that you would have to pay to be in their space. Like they're just at that level now, right? So what I've been able to do is bridge community in that, and those, like, you'd be surprised how many people actually want to, give back and actually, come and be a part of something like that. So, like, that whole week was just the week is just dynamic from a relation. I'm going back to my point of like relationships, because now if you get on there and you really like are desiring to do, let's just say you're desiring to build wealth through real estate, right? You have 3 women on there who have done it from scratch, right? So like that's your opportunity to connect, ask the questions that you need, and follow up with them. It's not just sit at the workshop, take your notes, and then go home. Because sometimes you don't know how does this fit into, this is my life.
How do you
this
apply
is the notes.
knowledge?
How do I apply this here? Because you got a lot of people that are information hoarders. So what we've done is like, we've had in the past, and we're going to do this on our 6th annual, but we're going to actually have financial planners come in and do pro bono work for the people there, right? So if you are somebody that's trying to get their credit together, or somebody that's trying to, start building, building your savings out, or start investing, or, you don't have a will, you don't have an estate plan, like some of these more detailed financial aspects of your journey, they're going to be there to help guide you, and also point you in the direction of where you could go to get these resources, taken advantage of. So to kind of bring it back, it's an entire week that really just focuses on liberating people from an economic standpoint, in a way that is very pure and genuine. Because I feel like in today's age, and you're probably gonna hear us reference this throughout the entire conversation, but like social media has a perception, and we talked about this on the way in, like money draws people in because it's a look. Like people love the look.
Respect money.
Yes, they respect that.
We're getting so far away from the days of like principle, actual value, and the people that actually hold, real credible knowledge. That's the part that's really missing from social media today. We got people that are, making ebook courses on things like how to become a millionaire, and they're telling you things that they've never really even accomplished, or don't have no credentials worth doing. So a lot of the stuff that we see on social media is definitely predatory, and I wanted to commend you for, I guess, like not falling victim to the instant gratification that we see. I'm another person that likes to just lay low and build. Like I have talked to my girl all the time, and she'll be like, babe, this video was really good, like I think this is going to be the one that like take off. And I'll be like, babe, like honestly, I'm not looking for a big takeoff. Like I want to fall in love with the process of developing myself until I know how to work every portion of this camera, or until I know how to edit down to the T of how I want to execute my vision from what I see in my head. Until I get comfortable speaking without a phone. Just those little things of just trying to like refine my efforts. I don't want to blow up. I just want to learn how to just enjoy this with no expectation. And I feel like today social media, it's created a narrative for kids and like young people that like you could just get anything and just do anything at the blink of an eye. And I feel like that's why people like yourself and other people that I know are really important, because it's a lot of people becoming content creators, influencers, streamers, and they making money quick, but they ain't doing taxes. Nobody know like bookkeeping. Like it's just like a lot of unethical and predatory business practices. So I think that's why more people need to know you, and they need to take the approach. I'm not gonna say they need to take the approach. People can do whatever they want. But I'll say I value the approach that you're taking, even though that's not the popular one in today's climate. Yeah, it's all about the long run, man. Like anything instant for me, I actually think is more riskier than thinking in the long term, right? You may think, well, if I wait 20 years to take my time to build wealth. And actually, if you look at some of the people that actually have built wealth in this country, look at their average age of a millionaire or the average age of a billionaire. They're not 25. They're not 27. They're late 40s, early 50s, because they were in a period where they were, grinding in whatever they were building or whatever they were a part of. And that was their accumulation stage, right? And now you see them in this stage where the wealth, they have it, right? They're able to go on trips, and you see them live differently. I'm gonna take an example. Give you a person for an example.
look at Steve Harvey's trajectory. Most people get caught up in Steve now because he's dripping.
He got the drip now.
He got the drip now, and before it was terrible.
Right.
You know, his suits used to be terrible.
Big, baggy.
But if you look at, and he's in his 60s.
Right.
He's like, I think he's about 60, between 60 and 62. And if you go back, he actually started in comedy or started doing that. And correct me if I'm wrong. I'm thinking, I want to say late 30s, early 40s. Now that could be a little hyperbolic, but
I think that's right. It was like his mid 30s.
Yeah. So if you notice, he grinded from, let's just call it 35, if that's the approximate age, from 35 to about 55, where he started doing Miss USA, the pageants. He's on. He was on every talk show. I mean, every game show. And I remember at one time we like, dang, Steve just get into a bag. Like he just. Every time you see him, he's on the TV, and I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" Now he's the host. He's been the host for a little minute.
Family Feud.
He actually has ownership rights in the Miss USA pageant stuff. Like he like being able to like negotiate those type of. Now he can sit at home and smoke a cigar and give those motivational speeches to people because he's actually done the work.
Right.
Most people don't want to do the work; they just want the platform to be able to say, "Yo, this is how you do it." And it's like you can't do that. You gotta. What work are you putting in?
It's dangerous. It's sending a really hurtful message, bro. And before we go down the wormhole,
Yeah. 'Cause you know me, man. Bring me back in.
As y'all can see, Nas is very passionate about this stuff. I wanted to play a game real quick with you, bro.
Okay.
Just because, like you said, there's layers to your personality. You have a wealth of knowledge, but bro, you are like a dynamic person. So I had some help with this, from your lady, actually.
Oh,
so,
damn.
It's going to be this or that. I had to go behind your back to figure out some information about you.
I like that. That's a good one.
I'm going to give you a series of options, and you got to choose between the options that I present to you. So you can't bow out. You got to pick one of the options that I give.
Okay.
And if you want to give an explanation of why you chose it, you definitely can. But
okay. Oh, this should be interesting.
So the first one is Jordan 1s or originally distinct.
And where I am today, I'm going to go with the originally distinct.
I respect that. Why is that?
Because I feel like they're very similar in the style, because they're very similar in style, right? Mm-hmm. So I could still get that Jordan 1 look or feel, but just to be able to support a local creator, like the shirts that I wear now, like this is a creator created this, right? I love being able to put use my dollars to go towards somebody that is striving to build a brand for themselves. We can easily go and get, and I'm not against like designer stuff. I got designer stuff in the closet, but I primarily like to support local creatives. So I feel like those shoes, I feel empowered knowing that somebody's, because he's still in the infancy stages of like he's actually doing the design. Mm-hmm. He's doing the shipping. He's the everything about that project. Whereas another shoe like the Air Jordan, Michael Jordan has the design is out there. He's not in that run no more, like figuring out like the style of the shoe. He has a whole team that does that and brings the shoe to him, and he may approve it or decline it. So that's why. And as you notice, the jacket I wore in was also designed by Local Creative.
Bro, this was all intentional. I knew that you was going to say that, so that's why I put that
the hat I got on right now, Local
Creative. You got to
Creative.
put the medicine and the candy to shine a light on the Local Creative.
Okay, I see what you did there, man.
Business travel or vacations?
Whew. I'm gonna go. Damn, I
That's
can't.
hard.
Yeah, because like, I'm gonna be honest. I like I'm gonna say business travel.
Okay.
And here's why. Me and my girlfriend have the ability to make a vacation anything. Mm-hmm. So like for example, like we stayed at the W, right? Okay. We got a room and stayed at the W and became tourists in the city. Now we've traveled, internationally together, but I think, those trips are great, but I love the creativity of when we're like making an experience out of something that somebody else wouldn't deem an experience, mm-hmm. but for us it's an experience because it's bigger than just being in Paris looking at the Eiffel Tower that we visited, but it's like having that intimate time with each other and actually, dating and having real conversation. I feel like a lot of people don't have conversation. So mm-hmm. I'm gonna go business travel because when I'm able to go, I've said this before to my girlfriend, I am my best self when I am able to have my cup full. Mm. If I feel like my cup isn't full, I can't be who I need to be to you, right? Mm. And I think a lot of people get lost in that because they're so busy trying to make sure, and I remind my girlfriend this all the time, don't keep worrying about if I'm okay, right? Because you have a duty to protect your energy and to make sure your glass is full, because I'm not going to get the best you if not. So I feel like when I'm in that environment, like when I went away for 8 days in September, boy, I came back on fire. Yeah. Like I came back, and every now and again, like consistency, like being consistent is a consistent process, right? Mm-hmm. So I came back, I'm like, I don't know, I just felt rejuvenated,
right?
And like, I just felt like, yeah, what you want to go do? Like, this is what we're gonna do? Oh, this, right. Like I just felt like a new person, and I wouldn't have got that if I didn't go away. And I did it separately. Like I enjoy, and we both enjoy going on trips without each other, mm-hmm. because we learn something. I learned a lot, and I'm coming back, I'm burning her ear out.
And you bringing more value to
yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm going to say business travel.
That was a beautiful answer, bro. I like how you spun that. All right, this one, I don't know. This might be a little tricky, but I'm going to say Amex or Chase.
I'm going to go, even though Chase Sapphire is on the rise, especially, and they have a lounge that they're building at the Philadelphia International Airport. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna go American Express, man. It is really, I've racked up points. Like I'm not one of, I mean, you see it, it's being highly advertised on social media now. Go get you an Amex, and most people know if you're only using it, it's a $695. Oh, if you have the platinum card, it's a $695 annual fee. Mm-hmm. So if you're not actually using the card, you're not getting the perks that can help you justify paying almost $700 for a card, right? If you're not traveling to take advantage of the lounges, you could get lost. Like, I just feel like if you're going to pick a credit card that you want to have, ensure that you are going to utilize it for the perks and not just to say that you have an American Express card,
right?
Because that's going back what we just saying about people, respect money, and the Amex Platinum card is like this highly glorified card, but it's like these people they're not even using the card to its advantage. And for me, they're just a no-brainer, because I use literally every service that they have. Like they pay for my global entry, so like when I go through airports, mm-hmm. I don't have to go through regular check-in. I can speed right through. Like when I was coming from California, the Uber made me late to the airport. My plane was about to leave in 30 minutes. I got through I got through the airport security in 10 minutes.
TSA,
right through TSA in 10 minutes, man. So that was a perk for them, and they pay for Clear, which is if the global entry line is. So what it'll do is, if the global entry line, because sometimes that line can be packed.
Oh yeah.
Clear will skip you all the way to the front, and then you can get in front back into your global entry line. So it's crazy.
I had a couple free trials of Clear, so I definitely know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and in Atlanta Airport they have it too. Yeah. So that's some of the reasons why I'm gonna go with the American Express card. Yeah.
Okay. The next one is digital assets or land and property.
I think that's going. So any financial professional, before they would answer a question like that, I'm gonna have to throw out there that it depends.
Okay.
Because everybody's value isn't in real estate, and I've realized that throughout the years, like everyone's not interested in owning real estate. Some people just want to own a condo or own a loft apartment, and that's just it for them. But for me personally speaking, I like land. I'm gonna go land and real estate. Not that I'm against digital assets. I think there is a space for that, and there's a portion of your financial picture where that's going to exist. Mm-hmm. But for me, it's going to be the land and the real estate.
Gotcha.
Sure.
Entrepreneurship or 9 to 5? I'm trying to stretch you, man.
Very thin, man. Very thin. Oh man. And you know what? My I got humbled about that a couple times, because I had to realize something. I was pushing. I don't like to push either one on the person, right? I think what you value, everyone knows themselves. Like if you're not somebody that's willing to give up weekends and sacrifice not being able to go to go out with your friends or your family, that you may not be able to be an entrepreneur, right? And some people cannot hug the cube. Like I cannot give my time up, 40 hours a week, and I got to put in vacation time and get off, and now they forcing me to come back in the office after they told me I was going to be 100% remote. These emails going back and forth. I'm waiting on this just all of the corporate dynamics. I think some people may not like that. Me, I value entrepreneurship because I understand something about our country. It's built on capitalism.
Right.
Capitalism and our tax code was built off of owning something, like being a business owner, being an entrepreneur. Our tax code is set up for small business owners. I mean, that's no secret, right? it's not set up for the 9 to 5 W-2 person intentionally. But for me, I think entrepreneurship, for me, just being able to, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit on that because I want to clear this up. So like futuristically, if I want to have a family and your son is sick or your daughter is sick, and you like, oh, I gotta go, and they're like, no, we don't have nobody to support you because you're leaving. Right. Somebody else got to be able to come and fill in. You're like, what, yo? I'm telling you, my son has to go to the hospital.
Right.
Like, that'll make you quit that job instantaneously because they're not valuing, what you value. And I think that's the important piece of like whether you're working a 9 to 5 or being an entrepreneur. Understand that that thing has to value what you value, or you're going to come into a tough debate with it because it's not aligning with your life. So I think for either one, make sure the values align. But I'm gonna go on entrepreneurship.
Okay. This one is an easier one, but it's catfish or shrimp.
Oh, I know Takia definitely told you that. So I love shrimp, but it's just something about this catfish, man. It's a place, and I ain't even giving them a shout out, but I got Oohs and Ahs in DC, man. If you're in DC, man, go check out Oohs and Ahs. They got some of the best soul food I ever had in my life. And they catfish is crazy.
I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. You gotta make a trip to New Orleans, bro. Bro, that's the best catfish I ever had.
I believe you. I believe you.
The food down there, I'm gonna say the people from New Orleans might kill me for this, but it wasn't really much to do outside of going like to Bourbon Street and like I guess like touring the city. But them restaurants I went to, bro, like Creole food, like Haitian food, all that, like it's amazing, bro. Like it's a lot of mixtures of cultures down there, so. You got if you want some real good catfish. Not to say that the one in DC wasn't.
Yeah.
Go to New Orleans. Bro.
That's on the list to go, places to go. But I'm gonna take catfish. But I'm a heavy resort to the shrimp bowl.
All right, cool. Hove or Drake?
Ooh, that's another good one
too.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go Hove, man. See, for me, I'm a little bit too philosophical when it comes to stuff like that, man. Because like. Some people might like Drake because and Drake is amazing. Like don't get me wrong. Like he's I'm gonna say he's like number 5 on my list. But he Jay-Z represents so much more to me than the music that he makes. Like a lot of that I value. Like a lot of the things he values with not even just like building wealth because I think that's the easiest thing to say about him.
Right.
But like the ability to take nothing into something and to give back. And one of the things I love about Jay-Z and Beyonce is nobody ever talks about their community service because you don't know about the community service because they don't want to be advertised about that. Right. They got a team. Yo, Tay, go organize this event, man. Here the budget is $15 million. Y'all go and give back. They don't want to be in the spotlight for that. They just want to do good work.
Right.
And I value that because that's how I want to lead. Like I don't want to be like. We was talking about this the other day. My bad, man. I keep going in the hole.
No, you good, bro. I feel like people getting to know you.
So. People have started to. We see this in our culture. People they want to be known for something. So the first thing some people resort to is being a community leader, and because that will get them some type of social presence on social media to say that they're giving back. And it's not that it's anything wrong. I think it takes a village to do all of the things that we need for our communities. It's bigger than just economics and making sure people got shelter and food and things. It's a lot that goes into that. So I don't want to be known. I don't want to be famous for being a community leader because that doesn't even feel right to me. Why would I need to be famous for wanting to help a community? It feels like
exploitation.
Yeah, it does. It does. And we've seen a lot of people. They I can't even because I don't want to give specific examples because we get I might step on some toes, but like people just like. You just gotta lead. Just lead with the work. That's all I can say. Like, forget about like when I didn't even want to get the news involved for Philly Financial Literacy Week, but the people that were working with me, like with marketing, they were like, "Well, you gotta do that," because and I purposely went to PHL 17 because I needed to understand who their viewers were.
Right.
So once I understood who their viewers were, which were single moms that were raising kids, and I think 40% of their audience was also African American, because most people don't have access to cable, right? That are underserved. You got to think about that, right? So that was a channel I knew that they were going to have access to.
Right.
So I went on and I did that because I didn't want to do that, but I was put in a situation because I was like, I want somebody else to actually go in there and tell this story because I just want to lead the work and I want to keep getting people keep getting people the help they want. So,
well, honestly, bro, it's important because it leaves a paper trail.
Yeah.
But also you can like reach more people, and who knows, like as you're building your portfolio up, or one day it might be a documentary about you. Who knows? But you'll be able to go back and cite these specific moments of where the
Very
media
true.
was on you, and also you just leverage those partnerships because I'm sure like from that. It's probably somebody that you could call if there's something else that you're doing and you need to have that spotlight on you again. So
Right.
I think it's important to have it, but just knowing like the reasons why you're utilizing those different tools and those resources.
Okay.
So
No, that's a good point, bro. Appreciate that.
Ownership or stewardship?
I'm gonna go stewardship.
I asked that because I always seen you over the years. You said you wanted to help people become stewards of their funds and their assets. So I see a lot of people preaching ownership, but the word stewardship, I don't think I've really heard anybody talk about that outside of you. I've heard it in a church setting, but in the financial room, I don't think I've ever heard nobody talk about it.
Stewardship is important, man. You can't own something if you don't know how to be a steward of the thing that you own, because you can own it and then you can lose it if you don't have great stewardship. I think that is the foundation of not even just money. It could be a relationship. It could be like anything that you're doing in life. If you have that foundation around, so how do I, if I have, because most people are like, oh, if I could just get 40,000, I'm gonna be great. I'm like, no, you don't. No, you're not, because in order to manage more, you need to be a master of less, right? You're not going to get blessed by whoever your higher power is if you think that you're just gonna get a windfall of $100,000 and that's gonna change your life. Like some people, that's why people play the lottery. Like if I could just get that one break. And I've seen people win money and not do well with it, and they're right back in the same situation, still living the same type of life they've been accustomed to living because they didn't have stewardship along the way. Like, okay, let me sit down, let me actually figure out. And it doesn't have like if you got $50,000, like that's a lot of money, but it ain't a lot of money, right? But you need to figure out, all right, how do I put myself in position with this $50,000 to turn it into 500,000, turn that 500,000 to 5 million. And I'm not saying that I got some trick to show y'all, because that's not what I'm advertising. But like literally, like when you look at it, like we're gonna bring up Wallow for example, like that video that's surfacing when he was in that room talking about this $1,000 and he said he was gonna turn it to 100 million. He actually did it, but it was through like actually putting in the work, leveraging the connections that he had. But like I feel like people, again, going back to the question you asked, like stewardship is the ability to understand the complexities that exist within the thing that you are trying to pursue, right? So if it's finances, like understanding the psychology of money, right? I think that's like really important. Like we make emotional like decisions more than we know it. And like I myself, I'm a big sneakerhead, like really, really big. And like I had to delete like the sneakers app and the Goat app because I felt myself like oh, I need, like if it was a new pair of sneakers, I couldn't win them on sneakers, I gotta go to Goat, right? And that's like that was like one of my biggest like hurdles, was like, yo, you gotta chill, because I got a good pair of a nice collection of sneakers, and like understanding that that's not showing a good stewardship, because you gotta, like I said, being consistent is a consistent process, and every day you're not going to get it right, but you got to continue to try to strive to do your best to try to get it right, is what I would say.
I had a couple more of those, bro, but I think your last point led directly into where I want to take the conversation. So I've mentioned this story a couple times on social media, but I feel like I would love for people to just hear it and to know it. But you are a big component in helping me to change the relationship that I have with money today, bro. And like I said, me and Nas, we happened to meet about 4 or 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
And this was around the time period where I had recently transferred to Temple in Philly. I had got a scholarship, so that was able to like pay for my education. So I kind of felt like I had like a second opportunity at life, to where I'm like, dang, I don't have no debt from school. All my debt is clear. I don't have to pay for nothing. I could just focus solely on academics, but also my purpose. So it's like, how can I be smart and best utilize the opportunity that I have in front of me? So I'm like, I can't mess this up. Like, I got to change my relationship with money. So around that time period, me and the guys, we flirted with the idea of starting a business. We had an LLC. That didn't work out for whatever reason, but that just goes to show like where my mind was at that time period of like, how can I best maximize the opportunity that I have? So in the conversations of learning about real estate and everything that I was learning about money, I realized and I knew for a long time that I had to fix my credit. So early on in college, I feel like that's the time period where a lot of these big credit bureaus, they market themselves to young adults. When you go to college, especially if you're from a low income family, that is a really vulnerable state in your life in terms of like just trying to make ends meet and survive day to day. So when I was up at college, I was ordering Chinese food every single week, ordering Chinese. I think at one point I bought a PlayStation, but mind you, bro, my line of credit for the Discover card was only $500. So at first it started out good. When you just ordering Chinese, the 10, 15, it add up, but I was able to pay off. But I think at the time period, I was looking at credit as I had $500 extra than what I had in my pocket. And I think that was the wrong way to look at it. So because of that, I maxed out my credit card and I couldn't pay it back, bro. Like, it had accrued so much debt that it went into collection. So I would get the letters from all the different states to my grandma's house for years, bro. That's from my freshman year all the way up to my junior year. And I knew that if I was to move forward to this next chapter of my life, I'm like, I gotta find a way to get rid of this debt. So I think one of the steps I took, I reached out to Nas, and one thing I love about you, bro, and one thing I love about this story is I'm always a person that I feel like I see talent before it's like at the world, but also like I love utilizing the strengths of people that's in my community. So if I got a person that I know that does taxes, why would I not go to them and keep our dollars circulating in our community, or just even like our intellectual abilities? Like, why not utilize each other's strengths? So I'm like, let me go talk to Nas, and we met at Uncle Bobby's, which is owned by Mark Lamont Hill in Germantown, black-owned coffee shop and library, and we sat down for like, I say it was like 2 or 3 hours. That was one of the first. I think that was the first time we met outside of the mixer. And Nas sat me down.
You had a haircut that time too.
I did. And I was hooping. I had much better knees at that time. But Nas just sat me down and he just gave me a whole rundown on credit. And at that time period, I had no idea of the 5 factors that impact your credit. So we went through those things one by one. He didn't sell me a dream of, what was going to happen. He gave me a concrete plan with steps that I should follow. One of those, the first thing was understanding the 5 factors and how they impact my credit. The next thing was getting a secure credit card, which I had never heard at to that point, because I kept getting denied from credit cards because I tried to get another one because I thought it was going to help me pay off the debt. So I got a secure credit card, and he told me, like, yo, keep this under 30%. Make sure you make your payments on time. But most of all, what I got from that conversation is it just opened my mind to like how money like actually works. And I followed Nas' plan for I think like a year or 2 after that. I was able to like get my debt like settled. I reached a settlement or whatever with the collections, and my credit like skyrocketed up. So I think I got a secure credit card of like $200, and that lasted me for like 2 something years. I made my payments 100% of the time. I tried to keep my rate as low as I possibly could, and today I got an Apple card, I got an Amex, I got multiple credit cards, and my credit is over a 700. And that it came from the steps in the conversation that I had with you. So it wasn't no miracle. You educated me. You placed the accountability back on me. Like, this is what you can do. I don't know what it's going to do to your credit, but if you take these steps and be responsible, be disciplined, and be a steward of your money, this is what could happen. So I always wanted to commend you for that, bro, because you did that as, I think you still were a student, or might have been 1 year removed from college. Like, we were students. That's like such a like life-altering step that you helped me make, bro. So I just wanted to say I appreciate you, and from that, it really just made me just want to continue to educate myself and learn more, and I look at money totally different. It's actually funny, bro, because during that time period when I was at Temple, I'm a sneakerhead, bro. Everybody knows me. They know I love sneaks, bro. Like, bro, I was wearing Vans and I think Chucks at the time. Okay. And my homies, it looked weird because they know, like, Tay, like, he really, like, he into fashion. Like, he loved copping all the new J's, bro. I was so dedicated and focused to what I was doing, bro, that, like, I gave away all my J's. Bro, I had Chicago 1s. That's, like, one of the rarest pair of Jordans ever.
I actually won those recently.
You just got them? The new ones? Damn. But, like, stuff like that, bro, like, I'm like, I can't wear J's no more. Like, I I can't go shop at Nordstrom and like I can't do all those things no more. And I stopped doing it, bro. I went cold turkey. And it set me up to make a move to where I could leave my hometown after college with no debt from school. My credit is in a good position, and I could enter this chapter of my life feeling free. And for some reason, bro, I've learned that over the past couple years, I think when you change your relationship with money, it changes every other aspect of your life. You start looking at like, how am I eating now? How am I taking care of my body? Or like, if I'm gonna get this food, I'm gonna get the best possible food as opposed to getting something that is not the highest of quality for my body. So I know that was long-winded, but I really just want to tell you that was like a crucial moment of me like changing the relationship that I had with money, and I always remember that. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thank you for giving me my flowers there. Yeah, I think for anybody like that's out there, like you got to understand something about credit. And I'm not sitting here saying that I offer credit repair services or any of that stuff, because I don't, yo. I can definitely give you the resources that, because I feel like, back to what you were saying, you got to understand credit before you try to repair it, because you can repair something but not understand what you just repaired, or not even understand the dynamics of what is going to actually keep you from being in a position where you got to repair it again, right? That's the biggest part, is that self-education. Don't just pay just to get a quick fix, right? That instant gratification. Thank you for helping me with that word. You got to put the work in to understand what that is, like what credit is, and then you can take those other steps, because now you are a better steward of credit because of understanding, all right, what's going to help me, maintain a good credit score, and how do I actually get a good credit score?
Right.
But going back to that, it's a very, very good piece here. Credit is not an extension to your wallet, right? It's not an extension to your wallet. So if you understand that, you will keep yourself out of credit card debt. Now I get it, right? I had my first credit card in college. I had a $500 Discover card.
That's what I had.
That was probably one. Discover and Capital One is probably the easiest two credit cards to get while you're in college, right? Unless you were added as an authorized user, or your parents or some other member of your family that wanted to support you along that journey. Because I had a friend who, when her sister graduated high school, she actually added her as an authorized user on her Chase Sapphire card. And when her sister graduated, her sister, had like almost 800 credit score, because throughout those 4 years, she
that was smart.
All the credit was building up. So, I maxed out my card in the beginning, and this is all like true testaments. Like, the card was maxed out. I felt the need to I ain't got no money to be paying this back. Like, 'cause I didn't understand that element. Now, and one of the biggest things for me, like, being so ahead of the curve, was literally months later I got my first job in financial services. I was a part-time teller at a bank. And that was college to me, man, because I was learning it, but then this is I'm applying it. I'm looking at people, how they transact within their accounts. I'm listening to the level of conversations amongst, advisors or bankers or managers. I'm just soaking this all up. It was a new world for me. And when I look at the way people look at credit, is they look at it like, well, damn, I don't have $1,000 to pay this bill. I'm gonna just put it on this card and then I'll pay it back later.
Right.
But what you don't understand within that behavior is now you've just opened the door for that to continue.
Right.
Because the next time you don't have $1,000 and in another 2 weeks another bill's coming up, you owe $1,000. Guess what? You still ain't paid the other $1,000. Now you oh no, I could put this $1,000. It's cool because I'm gonna pay it back.
Right.
Before you know it, you done created this consistent bad habit because you didn't check yourself from the door. I don't have $1,000. No, this ain't an extension. Unless all right, I'm about to spend $1,000, but I get paid, or some income is about to come from somewhere that's about to pay that off, right? Sometimes you got to do that, because sometimes people have too much month at the end of their money, so their paycheck doesn't cover all of their bills. But that you got a bonus coming up.
Say that again, though, bro. It's like that went over people's heads. Say that again.
Some people have too much month at the end of their money.
Damn.
So
I never heard that before.
Yeah. So people, some people have they don't have individuals working a 9 to 5 don't just necessarily have a cash flow issue. We're gonna go back to stewardship. They're just not being a good steward of money, right? Like you said, you may not. Now I wouldn't have. You crazy, man. You got them ones, man. Them Chicago ones, man. That's the one Jones I probably would have
hurt me to this day, bro. All I got is pictures now.
Yeah, man. That's a good pair, man. But anyway, I had to go back. I had to say that. But no, so like, just understand, like, just to recap on that, you have to really get to the base level of what your relationship is with money. Sometimes you don't know you inherit bad relationship with money because your parents, whoever raised you, they had bad relationships with money, right? When I first got my first credit card, I got a credit card because somebody in my family told me, oh, you need a credit card. That was it. Oh, yeah? Okay, yeah, Discover will approve you. Okay, approved.
Right.
They never told me that I was going to pay the bill back. So I remember like it was yesterday. I had a girlfriend at the time. I was in high school. I mean, not high school. I was post high school.
Yeah.
In college. I had a girlfriend at the time. I'm like, damn, babe, what you want tonight? You gonna eat good tonight? I got 500 on me, baby. Like, where you want to go? So we going out to restaurants, swiping. I'm thinking, I'm Cam, like,
that's
damn,
how it was,
this
too,
how
man.
America is. You can get credit and just use it. So then the bill came in. I'm like, what's this? They talking about something. You owe us $450. I said, what? So I went back to that family member. I said, yo, you ain't tell me that I had to pay this back. He said, yeah, man, you got to pay that back. I said, what the hell? He said, just make the minimum payment. I said, well, the minimum payment is $35. So I'm like, all right, I got that. I paid the $35, but guess what? I needed that $35, so I was right back at the store swiping it again, right? So like at that point, I had become, I had replicated what I was told and taught from somebody who didn't understand. They might have had the greatest intentions by telling me, yo, you need a credit card, because they were essentially trying to tell me I need to build some credit history. But they didn't explain any of the other parts. So I had to learn through trial and error in the beginning. But then once like my world got exposed to this new place that I was working in, it was over. Because now I shifted and I was able to really get in control of it. And then it still took time because like I still was young. I was 19 when I first got my when I got that job as a part-time teller. So like you just like sometimes people learn through trial and error. And that's what got me passionate about wanting to help people because like you don't need to keep learning through trial and error. Like sometimes we got to stop. We got to stop ourselves in the midst of what we about to do, so that way we can make the best and informed decision and not just trying to jump into something.
Right.
So like now it's like I always tell people, like I had a conversation with my girlfriend's nephew, and he was talking about like college, and he was like, well, I don't even know what I want to do when I want to go to college. And I'm like, all right, well, you're a sophomore, you'll learn. You know, you'll figure something out in the next couple of years. But I say if you haven't figured it out by your senior year, maybe you need to take a break for the first 2 years so you can figure that out, because you're about to give away $30,000 to go and do something that you probably not going to want to do.
Right.
And I think those conversations need to happen more in amongst households. It's like I'm not promoting people to go to college, but I'm promoting people to make informed financial decisions, because you're getting ready to, like, this isn't cheap. Like, you're about to go spend some money to go get a quality education wherever you go, and you may not even be passionate about the space that you're ready to work in.
I want to stop you right here, bro, because I think you touched on a couple of things. I think because of the lack of financial literacy in a lot of underserved communities, it creates this cycle of, like, dependence on money, and, like, a lot of it leads us into a state of, like, debt. But also, you touched on, like, just, like, the power of money. Like, money has the power to impact, like, so many areas of your life. And I think once you understand it, I think it will forever, like, change your relationship with it. Because, to be completely honest, bro, like, when you don't have money, like, I think it fuels, like, a lot of, like, what we see in our communities. I think people are hungry. I think people are starving. And people want, like, opportunity. Like, and I think it's hard to have an abundant mindset when you don't have money as well, because growing up where we grew up, bro, like, you know, that's one perspective. We got parents that, like, they put credit or put bills in their kids' names before you even are old enough to like, even have something. Then when you turn 18 or 21, whatever, and you start looking into those things, you find out your credit messed up, and you like, how? I didn't even know how this happened. And you find
out have Pico.
Then like, your parent tells you, oh, like, you know, when you was younger, you know, I put this in your name or whatever the case. And then you got to clean up a mess that, you know, somebody else made. And then I've had exposure to the other side as well. Like, I've got mentors who are millionaires. I got mentors who are extremely wealthy. And I see how money is kind of like, I don't want to say like it's like nothing to them, but it's just kind of like, it's more like an energy. Like, money is like it's like a tool.
It is a tool. That's
And
exactly
it helps you think from like an abundant mindset. Like when
Yep.
you have it and you can meet all of your needs, like it really will like, it just changes a lot for you. So I'm happy to have like both perspectives. But like once I educated myself and I learned the power of money, I could definitely say, my girl will tell you, I'm very much like a stickler now. I'd be like, yo, this is the next 5 years we got to do this, or the next 6 months this is how we gonna break down the money. And I even try to empower her to like
Yeah, you have the money
herself.
conversations?
Yeah, we really do.
Oh, man. I got to touch on that for a second.
That's a component of what I got from you.
That's
though.
so valuable, bro. People that are in, I see it, oh, man. I can't even begin to, like, put all the words together in my mind, but just to say at least, like, couples, spouse, like, people that are married, people that are just in relationships, like, whatever stage you are, you need to have money conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Because most people, I know people that are married that literally, the way they manage their money, they pay their bills, and they don't talk about, they don't talk about anything else. Oh,
Yeah.
the Pico bill had to be paid, or the water bill got to be paid, or the mortgage got to be paid, or rent, whatever. After that, they don't have any financial goals together. Me and my girlfriend literally, we have financial conversations all the time. But we literally had this conversation the other day. Couples don't be having financial goals outside of buying a home together and getting married.
Yeah.
They have no other financial goals together. So after those two things kind of get checked off, it's like, all right, cool. As long as you're paying your bills, I don't care what you that's like financial suicide at that point. Because like you telling me that y'all making as a household, y'all could be potentially bringing in $200,000-$300,000 when you combine both of your incomes, or even more depending on what your income looks like. And you're not sitting there having these type of conversations, like beyond just like, babe, let's buy a house and get married. Like there are going to be way bigger events, because if you really embody, especially amongst millennials, we keep using this word generational wealth. It's like, what the hell are you actually doing to manifest or put yourself in a position where you're going to leave generational wealth?
Most definitely, bro. And for the viewers, my girlfriend is in the background, so she'll tell you like on one of our first dates, what did I ask you, babe? You can say it. They gonna hear you. What did I ask you?
You asked me what my plan was.
I asked her what was her financial plan. Like that was just one of them.
Damn,
I'm like,
man, I
what
applaud
do
y'all for that.
I'm like, what do you envision like for your future? And I just kind of wanted to know like what she was thinking, and like I wanted to understand a little bit more about like her relationship with money. And it wasn't to like put pressure on her. Like I was fine. I told her, I'm like, I'm okay with you saying like you don't know.
Yeah.
But I know that the next time we talk about that, your answer is not going to be.
Yeah, we're going to talk about
like,
this.
we're going to talk about this. And it was an uncomfortable conversation because I don't even think she really envisioned like, what kind of lifestyle do you want to have? Like that's thinking from a place of abundance. Like you really have to envision it first, so all your steps can fall in accordance with what you see in your mind. So we talked about all of that, and I told her, I'm like, I want it to be like in the event that anything happens to me, God forbid, whether it's a breakup or something more tragic, like we got to be real about certain things. You are able to sustain. Like I want you to, at the end of this, like whenever the end is, I want you to be better than when you came in, and I don't want you to be tied to like a man. One of my homegirls in the past, she was a financial planner. She worked at a wealth management firm. She was like, a lot of women don't have a financial plan. She was like, a lot of women, their financial plan is having a man. So they never even had to think about money, because their whole goal was, I'm going to just date a guy with money. And what we see happens is these guys treat women, excuse my French, they treat them like shit because they have all the power. They have all the control. If somebody's determining your whole lifestyle with their salary or their income or whatever the case may be, like what incentive does that give them to treat you right? It shouldn't be like that, but in a lot of cases, like that's what we happen to see. And when she said that, I was like, damn, like, we see that a lot now. Like girls is ucking on the scamming ass, rent, whatever the case may be. Like that's what's being put. So I always tell my girl, and I don't know if she appreciates it fully right now, but I know at the end of the road, like I'm just like, I want to give you as much game and as much knowledge about money to where I don't want it to look like you dating a boss or he just got like a pretty woman under his arm. I want it to be two bosses. I want you to take the steps to educate yourself about money, whether it's finding like a group of black women that are they talking about credit. We see podcasts about finances and it's led by black women. We see all of these different avenues for people to learn about money. So I always just try to push her in a direction of like, this is what you need to do to like, or what you could do to like build yourself up in that way, man. And like I said, I don't know if it's working or if it means anything, but I just feel like I want to do my due diligence because I feel like it's the right thing to do.
It's all about the seed planting, though, man. So that's like, I commend y'all like wholeheartedly for that, because it's going to be uncomfortable. And sometimes you guys may need to, because you guys both are biased about what you guys believe when it comes to how you want to enhance your finances. So sometimes you may even have to hire a financial professional to be able to help you navigate that and take it to the next level. But you guys are doing the thing I think every person in a relationship should be doing is having those conversations. And like I said, I have those conversations very often. I mean, to the point sometimes my girlfriend's like, all right, like just chill, like because I'm so serious about that, because one of the things I won't do is I don't want her to be like and we talked about this in the beginning too, of how like the shift in like how you guys like split, you know, expenses, right? It was 50-50. Like we do this thing now, and some people may, you know, find it helpful or not, but like the way I look at our relationship is she's an individual and I'm an individual, right? And the way I look at it is, until we're married, we gotta meet halfway with everything, because at the end of the day, we could potentially not be together, right? And somebody may have felt like they've given more than the next person, and I don't want you to feel like that. I don't want to feel like that. So my whole philosophy on that was just like, all right, like we don't split a bill when we go out to eat. Like we take turns. Like if I treated last time, she'll treat. Like because it just feels like, because I was in a relationship before, and I'm saying this where I was like 100% like the guy, like and I know what that made me feel like and how it put a strain on my finances, and I didn't want to live like that. And I'm talking about 100% not even like no effort on the other side. Yeah. So I ain't no talking about the Michelle Obama like this is gonna be a shift, because it was never a shift. It was never a shift back to the other side. So like now we have like. And it's not like a ego thing either, because most guys like, no, my lady go out, I'm gonna pay every time we go out. It's like, that's cool, but I want her to feel like I want her to feel empowered that she can pay for dinner for us as well, not just like, oh, I'm the man and you just sit there and eat and look pretty. Like, nah, like we're in this together. And I think that also, like, for me, it brings a different dynamic to our relationship, because the fact that you made an effort to make plans for me to, you know, for us to have dinner and you're paying for it, it just does something for me.
We're very similar in that aspect, bro. Like we do the same exact thing. Yeah. And I don't think we ever really like talked about like taking turns thinking, more so just she'd be like, no, I got it, babe. Yeah. And it just turned into that like over time. But I think like a lot of the conversations that you seem to be having with your girl and a lot of the practices, we kind of like have those too. So
it's good, man. Like at the end of the day, I want her to be an individual and me to be an individual that brings together our love, resource, everything to create something, you know, something whole, and not just somebody who, you know, like I just want to be the man and you could just be the stay-at-home wife. No, that is not a purpose. That is not, you do not have an identity tied to that. Like I don't desire to ever have my wife be a stay-at-home. Like no, I want you to you go out and create what you want your life to be about. Because you're bigger than a wife. You're gonna be bigger than a mom. You're gonna be bigger than all of those things. You are, you know, who you are at the end of the day. So. Yeah.
Well, I think that's a great segue into the next point. In the interest of time, bro, I'm sorry I didn't get to this faster, but I really just wanted people to like learn more about you. So like, if somebody asked you like, who is Nisiar, or like to tell your story, like, how would you describe that, and like, what are some of the steps that you took to like get to where you are today?
Yeah. So I'm not gonna give you my LinkedIn version of it. I'm really
I want you to start from Philly too, bro. Like I'm saying, like schools or like what kind of stuff, everything.
Yeah, man. So I grew up in inner cities of Philadelphia. I've lived every part of Philadelphia except South Philly. Okay. We, for all the obvious reasons, like my family, we had to keep moving. Like we didn't have money, and certain situations arose, and we had to like leave one place. My dad went to the military. And then I had to move my mom in North Philly, and then I moved back with my grandma, and we lived in right off of City Line Avenue. Then I lived in Uptown. I would call Uptown where I was like raised, because once I reached to like 14, I was pretty much Uptown the rest of the way. But throughout those experiences, I like went to 4 different schools. So I've always been on the move. And I think that's a testament to how like I operate now in life. Like I can't sit still a long time. Like if I can't, like, as much as sometimes I tell myself I'm gonna just sit in the house today, and I end up going somewhere because I gotta I can't just be sitting here, like, something gotta give, like, let's just go to the park if it's nice out and just be there. But anyway, yeah, man, so like inner city guy, learned a lot through trial and error. I seen a lot growing up. Very, very humble beginners, man. Like, my mom, had to go back to get her GED to that point, right? Like, my father went to the military because he was hanging out in the Nicetown section of Philadelphia, which in those times were, and it's still to this day, like, not an area that you want somebody to be in, and a lot of his friends were being killed and locked up. So my grandma was like, listen, you need to figure something out with yourself. And my dad's dad was like in and out of prison. So my dad ended up going to the military, which changed his whole life, and it was able to afford him to get an education and put him in a position. And a few years ago, he actually bought his first home using a VA loan. And what's funny is my dad wasn't a steward of his money, wasn't a steward of credit. I actually added my dad as an authorized user and put him in a position to be able to buy a home. So it was just like, it felt good, and he thanked me, like, being able to say, yo, I really appreciate that. Like, you helped me, because I felt like it was my duty to then take a lot of the information I was learning and applying it into my family dynamic and showing my family the way. And, that's a gift and a curse, because now, I mean, they call me about everything. Nas, well, what do you think about this? And I'm like, yo, like, I'm about to start invoicing y'all. This ain't just
like this.
I'm in the middle of going to an event where I'm in the car just trying to, like, get my mind ready for where I'm going, and they calling me with these questions, and they want an instant answer, and I'm like, it depends, and I got to backtrack, I got to ask a lot of information. But I've literally been able to help my family all become, they all desire to be homeowners. I've been able to do that. So, like, I think at the root of it all, like, I'm matriculated through a couple schools. Like I said, I graduated from Parkway Center City, attended Penn State Abington, where I studied finance. And, like, I've worked in the financial services now for like the past, it'll be 10 years next year. And it's interesting because I'm making because I started at 19. I was 18 turning 19. I walked into a bank, I saw a banker, so let me backtrack, I'm sorry. I'm skipping it. So I saw, in the inner cities of Philadelphia, and you can definitely attest to this, you model what you see, right? If all you see making it out of the hood is entertainers, and sports individuals, you think that's your way out the hood. You don't know that there is nothing else out there that you can do besides that. So I remember in high school we used to do career day, and I was on the committee, so I got to walk the people in, take them to the class that they were going to, and I got assigned to this guy that was in commercial banking. And it was a black guy, came in with a suit, pulled up in a Mercedes. I'm like, whoa, like, I ain't never seen a black. I'm like, so what do you do? I'm walking him in like, so what do you do? He's like, I'm in commercial banking. I was like, okay. So I walked into the room. He, gave his speech to the class and did his lesson. And then when I'm walking him out, I'm like, listen, can we stay connected? Can I get your business card? I followed up with an email, and I still got the email to this day on my phone. The punctuation was bad. It was no commas. It was awful, but it was just a guy that was passionate about wanting to be better. And I think that was the intent of it. And I was like, man, I don't know what you do in commercial banking. But I need to be doing it because I want to dress in a suit and I want to drive a Mercedes, right? And I still don't own a Mercedes, but I dress in a suit, and I've been really privileged to make a great income and be able to really expand my knowledge. That was like, for me, that was like the biggest thing working in banking has done for me. It's my knowledge and the connections. And over the years, I read this book by John Hope Bryant, who is a virtual mentor for me. I don't know him personally. He actually followed me on Instagram like 3 years ago, and I was like buzzing out of his world because like, you know how it is, and you chasing that person that you've been watching for, like, that's just like Nipsey Hussle following you, man. You'd have been crying, like, you'd have been crying, man. Like, what? Like, just to get that, I was like,
look at that
what?
Every day.
Bro, I got the screenshot saved in my phone because, like, that dude, like, hearing him speak and talk about, like, the intersections of like of wealth and also community, it empowered me, and it gave me some skills that I needed to be able to walk in the way the light that I walk in today. But so I say all that to say, like, I'm really, at the end of the day, I love talking about economics and I love empowering people to take control of like their financial lives. But I like to have fun. I like to travel. I'm a regular dude outside of that. Like I don't know, I don't put an image on social media because I try to balance it.
Right.
But I'm just a dude that's just really striving for success and wanting to help people around me. I never have any type of hidden agendas with people. I do this thing on Thursday, and you talked about this. We was talking about this either before we got on or as we was on. But I do this thing on Thursdays where I send out a voice memo to 15 people in my contacts, and I just give them a message of saying something about them and what I appreciate about them and what they mean to the world.
I still ain't get mine.
And yeah, so you on the list, man. Just in due time, because I wanted to feel genuine. Because now that you just brought it up, man, you might have been on the list for this Thursday, but now I gotta go to the list and probably move you out a little bit. But I do that intentionally because hearing, especially people that you don't get to talk. Like I don't talk to you every day, so like. Hearing somebody shoot you a voice memo, they were thinking about you, and they gave you something in a moment where you probably needed to hear that.
Yeah.
It just helps take them to another level. Mm-hmm. Like people send me bad voice memos, maybe crying or like just telling me they really appreciate, they needed to hear that. It gave them a kickstart to, sort of get going on what they was trying to set out to accomplish. So I do that because like nobody ever did. Like I give a lot of love, and I think the reason why is because. That was a lack of like I didn't have that like amongst my homies or amongst like people I grew up with in high school, and nobody ever gave love. Like that was always the thing. Like, oh no, we ain't gonna do that. That's not cool. They don't look cool. It's like no, I tell my friends, and they still like grind me up a little bit. But I'm like, no, man, you got to give your flowers, man, because one of y'all could not be here today or tomorrow, man. If you ain't get to tell that person that what you felt, that travels with you. That could affect your mental health. So like I'm big on just sharing love, man, and just wanting to see everybody win. That's really how, and that's why I do the work that I do, because I naturally want to see people win at their finances, because I've been gifted enough with the skill that I think is valuable to the world. That's what I believe my superpower is being able to help people achieve financial success. That's my goal.
So I got 2 quick questions, bro.
Yeah.
If there was a one-liner that you would use to describe yourself, what would that be? And if there was a personal finance ecosystem of what people should be paying attention to outside of credit, because I feel like we know about our salary from work and we know about, credit, but what about maybe like life insurance or 401k? So if there was a personal finance ecosystem of things that people could start educating themselves on, what would that be?
Yeah, so your first question was...
the one-liner. Like how would you describe Nas?
A steward of life. What I would say, because like I said, the word stewardship, it has a bigger meaning than just what it means to finances. It's a stewardship of like, having discernment, having wisdom when you're making a decision, and if you get the decision wrong, being able to pivot and try to clean up that the mess you could have made, or trying to like move forward, learning that lesson. Because every failure for me that I've had and then I continue to have are lessons that help me move forward. So I would say steward of life, and then. For your second question, I like to start with some of the basic stuff, right? There's no rule, like when you are trying to manage your finances, rule of thumbs don't fit, because a rule of thumb is a rule of thumb, but your financial picture may not allow that rule of thumb to exist within it, right? So when it comes to your personal finances, I think you should have between 6 to 12 months of expenses saved up. I'm conservative, so I'm going 12 months. I need a year, right? Especially for people that lost their jobs during COVID, or they're out of work for an entire year. If you had your expenses saved up for an entire year, when you got laid off, can you imagine how much solace you would have knowing like, all right, I'm good for a year because I prepared.
Right.
And that doesn't mean that you're not going to put in the work to try to find some other way to create income, but like. Being able to have 6 to 12 months of expenses saved up, again, and then making sure that you do have the proper insurance coverages in, right? Obviously we know health insurance is important. It's an important element. Making sure that you have life insurance. I would also encourage people to have disability insurance, whether it's through your employer or whether it's you purchase it through a broker or some outside source.
Okay.
A lot of people don't like. When you're married and you don't protect, you got to figure out, you guys are accumulating the income. How do you protect the accumulation of income? So if you don't have disability and you get hurt, right? Like you tore your ACL, right? And a couple other ligaments in your leg. and you were out of work for a year, right? And you weren't able to take an FMLA, and as a result, you lost your job. How do you protect the income that you and your wife have coming in, or your girlfriend, so that way it doesn't put a financial strain on her or him to be able to, try to provide to keep up with the expenses you have. So protecting that income through having some disability insurance is a key part. Obviously, we know why life insurance is important. I don't really think I need to explain that. Health insurance is another one. I'd also take a look at once you get to that point where you have some of your income, like you have 12 months of I'm gonna keep saying it because I'm like 12 months makes me feel comfortable. But you can go 6 months. Some people go 3 months. I need 12. I just feel like it gives me more time. But going back to that point, I think once you have that 12 months of expenses saved up, you need to figure out, all right, how can I start allocating some of this extra money into some type of investment, right? Because you need to start, you can't just have it sitting in the bank, right? You got your emergency savings sitting there, right? That's easily, it's liquid and it's accessible. But if you start to, let's just say you got that saved, now you got $5,000 in discretionary income coming in. You need to figure out, all right, well, how can I actually deploy some of this money so that I can start to, build on the generational wealth track that I want to have. And again, that looks different for everybody. Some people may want to start investing in the market. Some people may want to start buying real estate. Some people might want to start a business. Some people may want to buy a business. Like there's just a bevy of areas that you can look to do that. And I think when you understand your financial why, those decisions become easier. Because most people don't understand their financial why or what their value system is, and then they end up resorting to what social media is telling them. You need to own a trucking business, you need to own an event space, you need to own whatever the case may be, and then you end up going into that path, and it's not even something that aligns with you because you don't have, your value system isn't connected to that.
Right.
So I think you need to understand that piece beforehand. So those would be some of the tips. I mean, I can give a bunch of more tips, but I feel like I like to give people small doses because when you give them a lot, it becomes overwhelming, and the jargon can sometimes be intimidating, and then people just naturally back off from it.
And I think once people get on that journey of like educating themselves on what I would call, I guess, like the personal finance wheelhouse, inevitably, once you master one aspect of it, your mind is going to travel to another aspect of like, how can I do more? So I think as people kind of try to like master the basics of some of what you just described, if they are a steward, and also just a lifelong learner, they'll take the steps to keep learning. So
exactly. In
the interest of time, bro, we could talk for hours. It's so much more that I wanted to ask you, but I guess lastly, how would you describe failure? Like, what would be your personal definition of failure?
Failure is the ability to get knocked down constantly, and remind yourself in those moments that there is another side to this, right? And we talk about if you are someone who has an abundant mindset, when you get knocked down, you're going to be so optimistic, like, all right, I got this bruise, I learned, I'm never going to make this mistake, or I know how to maneuver the next time I'm in a situation like that. So failure is just, the ability to get knocked down multiple times with the abundant mindset that you'll be able to get up and get right back started again, no matter how many more times you're going to get knocked down. You can't lose your enthusiasm for the goal, right? Because that goes back to your value system, right? If you failed, like the exam that I'm taking at the end of December, I failed it twice. If this track that I'm on for what I'm getting ready to do, if my value system wasn't connected to it, the 2 times that I failed, I've been discouraged and trashed it because it wasn't in alignment, and the fact that I failed and got knocked down by it, I wouldn't have wanted to continue to try to, keep trying to get to that target. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
Thank you, bro.
Absolutely,
thank you for
man.
everything. And tell the people how they could keep up with you on all the socials.
I'm on every social media platform at Nisiar Smith. And I spell Nisiar very differently. So it's Nisiar, Smith. Every platform: LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm TikTok. Whatever you
TikToking.
Yeah, I'm getting there. So that's all my that's like 5 or 6 different platforms. You can check me out there. I'm very responsible in the DM, so I'm not Hollywood. You hear me on this platform talking about how I give back. I literally send, people ask all types of questions, and I get back to them as best I can. And I offer like office hours during the week for people to just like break bread and ask questions. So
yeah. Awesome. Well, you just touched on this too, bro. I don't know if you want to shout out Breaking Bread Media before we go.
Yeah. So Breaking Bread Media is a media company that I started, and it also has a podcast that tells the stories of creative entrepreneurs and small business owners regarding their relationship with money. So it's a show that took a pause because I'm studying, so I had to give some focus to the studies. But there are currently 5 episodes out right now on YouTube and on everywhere you listen to podcasts. And then also, once I'm done with this exam, I have 16 other episodes that are banked that I just have to release.
Amazing.
So look forward to it. We have I had some NFL players on there, former NFL players, and people who play at the highest level of basketball as well, talking about the relationship with money. It's a really good dynamic and intersection.
Really looking forward to it, y'all. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed the episode. Y'all know y'all can keep up with me on all the socials as well. I hope y'all subscribe, like this video, and just continue to stay on tune for more content. Love y'all. Peace.
Peace, y'all.
That was good, bro.
Yeah, that was good.
I was trying to watch the time. I'm like, dang, it's 2:12. Once we got to 2:12, I'm like, I got to maximize this next 40 minutes.
Yeah. No, we
Enough T's and things, investing all our dollars and hoping that freedom reigns. It's hard being us, but the talents cover the pain. Make it to the lead, but we still don't own the game. Way too many souls are tainted behind the fame. The parties in private mansions, they exchange some drinks. Corrupt the things you think, your life change in a blanket and nothing seems the same. All these curses, your value to your spouse is measured by some purses. Preach religion to our youth and make them think it's working.